very quickly. Which numbers? Just note down in a notepad. You'll be doing a lot of noting, so have some pen, paper ready and raise your hands. I'll ask one or two people. What do you think are the features that would be in listening and what in hearing? Which numbers? I just want to know the numbers, okay? So just raise your hand when you're ready.
Intentional, ma'am, focused.
Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Very good. Yes, Geeta, let's go. Listening.
Yes, listening, focused, 4 and 6.
Okay. Intentional, focused, and voluntary, which makes what? Hearing what? Involuntary, accidental, and effortless, which means listening involves a lot of effort. Which means listening involves a lot of effort. It's all here. Hearing is effortless. So if listening involves a lot of effort, if listening has to be voluntary, if focus is required for listening, and the intent has to be very clear, you can imagine what kind of hard work is required to inculcate this or to teach this to the children. Listening skills. Now, if I were to ask you and you were to be extremely honest and tell me, what do listening skills mean to you as a teacher teaching your 9 to 12 or 6 to 12? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? Yes, Mohini? Yes, Mohini, unmute and speak, please.
Ma'am, when the child is really voluntarily ready to respond after listening.
Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to you as a teaching community, all of you? When I say listening skill, what crosses your mind? Immediately, oh, acha, I will have to do?
Respond accordingly, ma'am, according to the piece that is given to the listening.
Okay, Shweta?
Yes, ma'am. I feel that listening is when we are discussing something, telling something, we are able to understand, comprehend, and respond appropriately. But if this word comes to us, as you asked just now, it could mean that I have to conduct an examination or an assessment or something.
Bingo. Srividya, Rupa, is there something different or do you agree with Shweta?
The first thing that comes to mind when you talk about listening is the ASL.
ASL. So the audio tape, the transcript, the assessment, the uploading of marks, when do I have to conduct it, and so. Very honestly speaking, this is what it is. This is what it has sort of boiled down to. Okay, I'll be addressing, I can see some more hands raised, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, yeah, thank you for your responses. Okay, but that is not what listening skills are. Teaching listening skills are very different from listening assessment. So when you say ASL, that is assessment of speaking and listening. It is not teaching of listening skills. Okay, be very careful. All right. I'll be drawing out these differences even when we are doing a session on AIL. Yeah. So now, Rupa, would you read this for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. According to Larry Vandergift, listening is probably the least explicit of the 4 language skills, and it is the most difficult to learn.
So what is it that this person says? Please continue reading.
Yes, ma'am. Listening comprehension is anything but a passive activity. It is a complex, active process in which the listener must discriminate between sounds, understand vocabulary and grammatical structures, interpret stress and intonation, retain what is gathered in all of the above, and interpret it within the immediate as well as the larger social and cultural context of the utterance. Coordinating all of this involves a great deal of mental activity on the part of the listener. Listening is hard work.
Yes, thank you, Rupa. Let's not forget, let's just look at least explicit of the 4 language skills, LSRW. There's a reason why L is placed first. Okay, because if the person doesn't know, if the learner doesn't know how to listen well, the rest of the skills cannot be honed finely. It is most difficult to learn. Don't think of it as English. Think of it as German or French or Portuguese. Imagine having to pick up that language. Imagine having to pick up that language, and if you don't listen, how do you learn? Savita, microphone mute, please. Okay.
Yes.
And a good listener has to be an active listener. It's not a passive process. It is not them sitting and responding to an audio tape only. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? Interpretation of what they are listening to has to be there. It involves a great deal of mental activity, and it is hard work. So once this is established, once I've told it to you, see, you've all joined this session not because you want to know where you can get more questions to conduct an assessment. You've come here because you want to know a little more, because you seek clarity. You want to sort of be able to validate whatever you're doing in your schools as HODs or senior teachers or coordinators, or even the go-to people for your students, that you're doing it right. That's why you're here. So it's very important for me to lay the groundwork before I actually begin showcasing. Okay? Now, why do you think learners find listening skills activities difficult? Not the assessment. Otherwise, why would they find it difficult? It's very simple. They find it difficult because of the following reasons. They are distracted. Can you just let me know if you can think of something else? They are distracted. What else?
Maybe the accent of the speaker.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Anything else?
And sometimes the vocabulary and the intonation, the pauses, they don't understand, so they are not able to interpret correctly.
Absolutely. So accent, intonation, pauses. So the speaker's domain is what they don't understand. Anything else? Great. Let's have a look.
Ma'am, unfamiliarity with the context.
Very nice. Very nice. Would you want to elaborate on that, please?
Yes, when we are, whatever we are trying to listen, the context may not be always familiar for us. If we are listening in a very unfamiliar situation, especially with the students, it's not a classroom situation. So that then also, if we expose them, or if we give them an exposure of something very unknown, unfamiliar, non-Indian, definitely they will find it difficult to understand. Maybe it is an accent, maybe it's a situation. Then also it becomes very difficult for listening. They may hear, but they may not listen.
Age appropriate also, ma'am. Sometimes the themes are not age appropriate.
Yes. So
Even
now please
ma'am,
look at the...
Even
yes.
ma'am, the pace or the speed of the speaker sometimes also poses influence.
Yes. Now, may I request you to all look at the 8 points that I have listed on the screen for you. Now, these are going to be very important to help you understand how a listening task should be conducted. And what are the principles involved, and why are those principles internationally put across? I'm a great fan of Jeremy Harmer. There was one time when we did, when I recommended some books to read, and Jeremy Harmer was one of them. So basically, we will work on the principles that he's put across. His books are followed by a lot of English language teaching academics, right? So, influence of previous experiences, prejudices. If you're a non-vegetarian and you have to listen to a piece that is promoting vegetarianism, it's quite possible that you may not be open in accepting it, and everything in you rebels against it. Okay, so that interferes in comprehension. Okay, these are all barriers. Okay, so there are ways in assisting students overcome these barriers. The goal is to help them learn the skills, not just give them the marks.